It's about a year since our dad died, precisely November 19, 2017. It's amazing how fast 1 year has come and gone. We have been picking up the broken pieces as a family. God has helped us thus far. We had a smooth sail. Most people, I believe, know that we come from a polygamous family. I was pleasantly surprised at how much my father taught lives far and wide. From the north to the south Nigeria, from the Christian extraction to Muslim and other faith outside the four walls of Nigeria also. I didn't know that he was an unusually great man, but to be honest, I did not know he was that great. When I mean great, not just by way of an accolade of greatness, but he obviously had a way of touching the classes and the masses. He will be talking with the everyday man on the street as though they're the best of friends, and yet he can sit at table with kings and queens and dine with them. So, and he had an amazing memory, hardly forgot people. So all of that, to see all of that accolade from different places was overwhelming, to say the least. It was very, very, very overwhelming, and just I was pleasantly surprised. I miss him, to be honest. One of the things I miss is just the knowing that you had a father somewhere. You may not see him all the time, because of the business of life, but there's that added confidence that your father is alive and he's like a shield around you, a defense, a bulwark, a strong tower. I was saying to somebody when he passed, the best way I can explain how I felt like somebody shielded me. I felt like the ceiling over me just was removed. I felt vulnerable and exposed to the element. I felt a cover that I had was just blown away. You wondered who's going to keep you, So I missed that. To have such a towering figure as a father, to be alive, you can go in and out, do battle and come back. He's there. I miss his amazing wisdom. He seemed to have been a man of knowledge in various topics and subjects. There's hardly anything you talk about he wouldn't have something to say. Great breadth of mind. Red wide, red fire, a deep thinker. So it's almost like a repertoire of wisdom. You press the button, things come out to you. I missed that. And he had a way of remembering all of us in very strange ways. Our birthdays, oh boy, my birthday comes down the road. Typically, almost every year, I will expect my father to call me personally. When he calls, the first thing he'll do, he'll sing, "Happy birthday to you." He thinks it's a wonderful chorister of Anglican communion, So that is something that has happened once now. Last year he passed November 19. I didn't get that song in December. This is the second year. I certainly will not hear his voice, but I believe in glory. He's certainly singing and wishing me well, and all of us well. He was a fun-loving dad. Before he came into government and governance as the nation's #2 citizen, the kind of man who would typically take you on some Saturdays to Kingsway in those days in Lagos, Leventis, to do your Saturday shopping, get your bike for your birthday, your ball and things like that. So he was a family man. He loved children. Of course, getting into active politics took a toll on him. His time wasn't as available for all of us as we wanted him to be, naturally so. But you could still see a man who was making the effort to touch base with family, kids, where are you, how are you doing, that kind of thing. So he had a lot of value for family, such that Sunday became a regular family time for all of us. We all pack ourselves in 1 or 2 cars, we're going to church. So we knew the family tradition of going to church every Sunday. It was just part of the drill, Those are values he instilled in us at an early age, early stage of our upbringing, morals, and many of those things have helped to shape us, guide us, and govern us as adults of today. Right now, I don't see myself going into an elective office But I'm not God. I have no such thirst or desire for it, to be honest. But I've also learned in my walk with God to never say never. Take a day at a time. Walk with God. Let Him show you what next to do. But at this point in time, I have no such desire for elective office. I believe I'm gladly playing the role of a father now, in many regards, in the nation. But who knows? 50, wow. The sound of 50, sound of jubilee, makes me... But it is here. 50 is really here. You know, I'm reminded when we were young in our teenage age, and we saw those uncles who came to the house to see us. We would imagine this old uncle. This uncle is 50 years old. God forgive me then, because now I'm 50. I don't feel like that old uncle. I really feel like a 25, 30-year-old boy. In my mind, in my thinking, that's how I feel. And I trust God I'll feel this way for a long time to come. They say age is a number. It's what you make out of it that's what you'll be for you. But there are many things that begin to happen to you emotionally, psychologically, when you come to an age as this. You think more deeply. The reality that you probably have spent more of your life than what you have left, possibly. If you're going to live your 100 years, you're 50, hey, you don't have time, which is not bad. So therefore you begin to ask yourself, how do I want to finish the race? I want to finish well, I want to maximize the moment. For me, I begin to think of areas in my life where I have wasted time. Wasted rather than invested. In other words, I could have employed that same time to something more productive, profitable, that will not just be profitable materially, financially, but will move one towards leaving a legacy and posterity. Because I believe the real value of a man is not what you acquire, but it's how many lives you're able to touch. And you don't necessarily need money to touch lives, love, warmth, care, affection, and so on and so forth. So I begin to think, I'm thinking, you can't waste time anymore. I'm thinking posterity, I'm thinking legacy, but I'm also thinking eternity more consciously than before. So these are thoughts that are beginning to settle more in my heart. And one strong thing the Lord is challenging me at this point in time now is to begin to pray for and pray about the wisdom of God. Because when you're young, you employ strength, but when you're getting older, not old, getting older, you want to change your strategy and tactics to use less strength, less effort, less exertion of self to employ the divine wisdom of God, such that with the wisdom of God, a little effort is amplified. So that's the space and the page I find myself in this window of time. I can't really say the regrets because I've learned again walking with God is enrolling yourself as one who is imperfect in the hand of a perfect master who also has the ability, the willingness, and the love to mold, to shape, to break you to become what He designed you to be. So even when you're walking with Him, there will be mistakes here and there, but in His love and His mercy, He has a way to, as the Bible says, He causes all things to work together for the good. And we love Him and are called to speak. So can I say any regrets? I don't know that I can pinpoint any regrets per se. To be honest, I'm very, very grateful, and I think I've enjoyed tremendous progress. Well, if I say regrets, maybe I think maybe I could have employed my time in things that are more profitable, like I said earlier on, not as wasteful as we did when we were younger. But I can't lay my finger on something I can say I have a regret here. Well, let me interject. Somebody once said, and I agree, you don't have to start in ministry to be in ministry. So I'm not sure that I own a ministry just and I don't plan to own one in a sense that it's God's call. As mentioned earlier, the Lord caught me early really caught my heart very early. And when it did, it wasn't it wasn't a time to be hot, be cool, be hot, be cool. I threw myself hook, line, and sinker into God. Began to read the Bible, began to pray, began to evangelize. Within a very short time, I knew I was a minister of the gospel in 4 walls of Ahmadu University. I was a youth pastor in many regards. The Lord used me to begin a fellowship and all kinds of things on the campus. 2019 is around the corner. I pray that sincerely, as we've been praying as a church family, that our nation will not go up in disarray. Let me hold my words very cautiously. As a cleric, I want to be very mild. But to cut the long story short, I pray that this difficult season we've been for the past few years will give way supernaturally, miraculously, to a far better government and governance for us as a people. I see hunger in the face of many Nigerians. I see tears, I see pain, I see question mark, I see chaos and confusion. And as a cleric, it brings me a lot of concern, a lot of hurt. Nigeria and Nigerians are deserving of a better system of government and rule. And I pray that that better system, government and rule will emerge in the coming 2019. I also pray that it will not be a do or die affair for politicians, irrespective of political affiliations, associations, that all Nigerian politicians, like I mentioned earlier, will seek first and foremost to become nationalistic in their approach and their endeavor, in their campaigns and so on and so forth, before they are party men, before they are tribal men, or cultural men, or religious men. Remember, we're first and foremost Nigerians before we are ethnic, before we're tribal, before we're cultural, before we're religious. Let's not pull the religious card, because that is one way to divide the nation. Let's not pull the tribal divide, one way to scatter the nation. Let's talk about values and general policies, what you bring to the table. You don't have to pull down an opponent for you to go up. No, say what you will do sincerely and give the people the opportunity to vote. Let's avoid political antagonism and the killings and the murders. Over what? Over what? Senseless killings. Really, it must come to an end.